welcome to this week's Game Buzz. I'm Matt. I'm joined here once again by John.
Hi.
Hi. And Carl.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, look, I'm sorry if I sound pretty bummed out this week, but I've been looking forward to Rayman Legends for quite some time now.
You
Like,
were really quite
since
bummed
before
out.
the Wii U came out. And we're all set for it to come out this month as like the sole glorious light in what is otherwise a fairly barren release schedule for Nintendo's new console. And it's coming out in September now.
Boo.
But we know why. Like, we know why that's coming out in September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do we?
Coming out for everything now. PS3
Hooray.
and
It's
Xbox.
Rayman Legends for everyone.
Yay.
Thing is, like, we've often advocated, like, you know, multi-platform, that's great. That's really great. And it is. More people will get to play what is shaping up to be an absolutely fantastic game. Hooray! But from a we also kind of want the Wii U to actually maybe have
Yes,
some
and also,
success.
well, first of all, we'd like to play this game that was scheduled for this month. You know, first of all. Secondly, you know, the Wii U version is supposed to have, you know, all those touchscreen features, which, if it's coming out multi-platform, are perhaps just not particularly important at all. You know,
Well.
that's odd. I mean, they might be looking to try and integrate PSV to crossplay or Smart Glass down the line, but I mean, this game was nearly ready. It's supposed to be coming out right now. The demo is out. My pre-order is I still have my pre-order, which was originally supposed to be arriving on the launch day of the Wii U, November 30th. So yeah, I personally am quite annoyed about this. I'm a huge fan of Rayman Origins, but I think it's quite an interesting move in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like, more importantly than, because I can get over waiting for a game, and I think, you know, it is great that it's coming to other platforms. The more the merrier. But Ubisoft are usually very keen to get on new consoles and get on them early and get on them hard. And this move is quite odd. Like, just quite a strange and I would say potentially quite suggestive thing to happen.
Well, Ubisoft have been in the news again this week talking about the Wii U. They're saying, well, it's really just hard to explain why it's an essential purchase.
Yes, it's interesting that a day before they released this news, in what is perhaps an unrelated event, one of the producers of Zombie U came out and said, look, Wii U's great and all, but it's impossible to explain. Nintendo have done a bad job of it, and it leaves games that we've put out early on their platform, like Zombie U, high and dry. You know, without a leg to stand on. They're looking at the UK charts, which are notably bereft of any Wii U exclusives, and they're looking at the fact that, I mean, Zombie U tanked. Let's face it. And it's a shame because it's brilliant, but Nintendo didn't advertise it properly. They didn't advertise their console properly, and you have to wonder, perhaps, if they're getting cold feet about the platform.
Well, EA certainly seemed to be.
Yeah, that's right.
There was that quote that it's not really considered a next-gen console at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you look at it, it's really not. But the thing is, Iwata's been very defensive about that. There was that Q&A where he turned around and said, "Look, we're not concentrating on power. We're concentrating on trying to innovate and trying to sort of create markets in the gaps." And it's just like, thing is that I mean, on the one hand, that sounds great.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds fair enough, but if they have to concentrate on innovative games, they have to release innovative games.
Yeah.
They have to release them. We have to be able to play them. So this is a real blow for the Wii U, because this was a big exclusive, and this has been a big exclusive since the console was announced. Like, on the very first day we got to see about the console, it was Rayman Legends is happening. This is what's up. You're buying a Wii U, you're going to be getting this. And actually, that's really not the case now.
It's kind of also something of a slap in the face for early adopters, because it looks more and more like Nintendo are banking on.
I'm trying not to sound too depressed and too angry, but yeah, just a bit, actually. Just a bit.
I mean, they're clearly banking on a Christmas where we're going to see, where they've all but come out and said, these two Mario titles are going to be hitting in Christmas.
Yeah, but it's like
Um,
thanks as well for getting this game. Like Origins, they released that at Christmas and it tanked for ages. Like
Yeah.
it was only after Christmas that people started, the game came down in price. People went to check out the reviews, which were all amazing, and said, "Oh, maybe we'll buy this now." Why are they bringing it out in the holiday season?
Thing is, I mean, it would have been perfect. You drop Rayman Legends at the start of the year. We have all year to be like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The long tail would be great.
At least the summer. At least you could have set it back to the summer. Give us something to look forward to there.
Because now it's going to be competing with Mario.
Yeah, if not
On
next-gen consoles. If not next-gen consoles as well.
And
but
everything else they'll be releasing around that time as well. It's going to have stiff competition, huge competition.
From all the big shooters. It's going to have stiff competition from probably some of Ubisoft's other franchises as well that they're going to be trying to squeeze onto the current generation.
Assassin's Creed, probably.
Yeah, probably another Assassin's Creed. Remember Me, I think.
Yeah.
That's
Oh no, that's Capcom. But there are other big titles coming out around that time as well. Other big new titles. So. Yeah, I mean, this kind of seems a bit short-sighted to me. There are a couple of other possibilities, though. It's possible that Ubisoft aren't losing faith in the platform, but there are a couple of other things could be happening. First of all, maybe Legends was always supposed to be a multi-platform game, and Microsoft and Sony got really arsey and said, look, you need to release our versions at the same time as the Wii U one, otherwise it's not fair. And there is precedence for this.
Yeah.
Microsoft have actually got usually stipulating multi-platform contracts, but that unless it's a paid exclusive, that the Xbox version has to come out at the same time as the other ones, and there has to be almost no content disparity between the versions as well. Like they've done this before, that could be the case here. But the other possibility, of course, is that Rayman Legends could be crap. There is that one. I think this is the least likely. I think this is the least likely of the possibilities, but perhaps it's just not shaping up very well. And Ubisoft have thought, so those touchscreen Murphy sections really aren't particularly great, or perhaps some of the music sections are a bit one-dimensional and not much fun to replay. So, maybe we've got to push this back, and then to justify and actually pay for this extra development time, bring it out as a multi-platform game as well. As I say, I think that's perfectly the least likely of the options.
Yeah, I mean, the game's gone gold already, hasn't it? So
well, it almost
ready
to go. It shouldn't be crap, but I'm just saying that is, in all fairness, it is possible that it could be. It isn't, but perhaps it is.
But it really isn't.
But it obviously isn't. But perhaps they thought actually all these Murphy bits are pretty rubbish. In fairness, they didn't blow me away in the demo or in the previews, but you never know. But either way, this is a huge blow for the Wii U. This is a kick in the teeth to early adopters because, impartiality be damned. I've been waiting for this game for months now, and now I'm going to have to wait another 7 months.
Yeah, I mean,
to be honest, we'll have the opportunity of picking it up for probably a smaller price with things like achievements and Xbox Live behind it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've stated it several times every time we bring up the Wii U. This was one of the titles that was there at the forefront of me wanting to get one of the consoles. It was there.
Yeah.
But now I don't have to. I've got PS3, working PS3 now. I can play it on that. I can play it on my Xbox. I don't have to get a Wii U to play it.
Have Nintendo, though, not sufficiently explained Miiverse to you to make it obvious that the online component of Wii U Rayman Legends is actually just going to blow everything else out of the water?
Oh, probably, but I can
comprehend that?
just I can probably just boot up my laptop and go on GameFAQs or something.
Oh yeah. Shit.
And perhaps do a crudely drawn picture of Rayman in Paint and then link that in.
Thing is, it's a real slap in the face. The other people it's a slap in the face for, as was in your news post, John, is the devs. They've been crushing this for months.
Yeah, they have, and they've really, after they had to delay it from November, they've been, as you say, crushing it, and they've been crunching it, and they've had months of intensive crunch to get it finished and to constantly get new demos out. And so it must be just well, as we've seen from what is from an anonymous quote from one of the developers involved.
Yeah.
This is tremendously demoralizing to the studio, who've sacrificed time with their families, who've sacrificed a huge amount of sleep, who've been working a massive amount of overtime to get this finished, and then for Ubisoft to say, actually, chaps, 7 months. Now work on Smart Glass or something, perhaps. So this is tremendously disappointing for everyone concerned, except the vast majority of console owners, for whom it is fantastic and wonderful news. I was gutted.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. I think at some point we may have to talk about something else, because I may have to go back into my cupboard and start sobbing quietly into my copy of Rayman Origins.
Yeah, we should probably come up with some good news to kind of balance this out.
Witcher 3. Let's move on to the Witcher 3.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, well, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's called Wild Hunt. Geralt's got a beard.
Oh yeah, manly beard. That's what we like to see.
Very manly beard. Also, the idea that this is gonna sort of be the end of Geralt's story. We have the blood-flecked wolf symbol in the tantalizingly brief trailer. Like,
Yeah.
Is this going to be the game where Geralt cops it? Perhaps.
Or it's just going to be very, very bloody.
Oh yeah. Well,
As opposed to just very bloody.
I think
that's
probably
pretty much
Yeah.
given.
Yes, but apart from being very bloody, it's going to be very, very, very bloody. Very. I think that's what it's hinting at. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
but,
the power of Red Engine 3 might mean that there'll be blood everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
Blood
Dynamic blood.
filling out physics-enabled blood everywhere.
Physics, chunky kibbles.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a fantastic, expansive world that's meant to be something like 20% larger than Skyrim's. With different sort of layers of the way they're doing the stories. It looks and sounds like it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, because Witcher games in the past have always followed a sort of a chapter and act driven structure. You're moving from sort of like mini sandbox to mini sandbox. This sounds very, very ambitious, which is great because, well, CD Projekts are generally great. And yeah, I like the idea of this sort of slightly more intimate combat system that's going to be. It sounds like it's focusing a lot more on the sort of like one-on-one encounters and giving you.
Yeah, we're not going to be rolling. We're not going to just be spamming the roll the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something they actually. Yeah, it's like something they actually made very clear. It's like he won't be rolling around. He'll be doing parries now and pivots to try and get out of being hit. And yeah, you're right. It does make this seem like it's going to be a very intimate combat system, which I think is pretty cool.
No, the last time anyone said that was for Ninja Gaiden 3. So, but the CD Projekt are competent developers, so this should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm slightly more optimistic about this than I was about Ninja Gaiden 3.
Yeah, just a little bit. But we're gonna have to wait until 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, it'll come when it's done. It'd be interesting to see the platforms it appears on, whether CD Projekt will concentrate for a PC release or whether it ends up on next-gen systems.
It depends on what the next-gen systems can do. I mean, personally, I hope they do what they did with The Witcher 2, is releasing the best damn PC version they can, and then releasing console versions that are designed to feel like dedicated console exclusives rather than ports.
Yeah.
I like that.
The great thing about CD Projekt was, it's like Terraria is coming to console, and the PC crowd are up in arms because it's getting a whole bunch of stuff that the PC crowd just isn't getting.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, it's from a new developer.
CD Projekt don't do that. They're sort of like, right, well, yeah, we're going to bring The Witcher 2 to console, and we're going to make all these improvements, and then we're going to give the PC fans it all for free as well. So yeah,
do that again.
Just do that again.
Do that again.
Yes, please.
God, yeah, I can't wait for that. It's going to be great. We love CD Projekt. We love CD Projekt Red. We love Geralt and his adventuring. We can't wait to see what the beard has to do with things. Like,
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, those sexy scenes are going to be beard-tastic. don't really want to think about that. But yeah, we're looking forward to that immensely. We're pretty sure it's in safe hands. Another sequel that was mentioned this week, Mass Effect. We're not allowed to call it Mass Effect 4.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't call it Mass Effect 4 because this is going to be Mass Effect. They may not even
massively effective.
Presumably they're going to try and shoehorn Mass Effect, the sort of phrase Mass Effect in there somewhere. But it's looking like it's continuity wise that it will be a sequel, but because apparently the events that you make in the previous games may be alluded to in the next game.
Yeah,
but they might be, and we know what that means. It means that some random characters in a conversation will say, "Oh, that Shepard was super great. Yeah, he totally like."
Oh yeah, did you love it when he punched that reporter? Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, well, he punched that reporter, or did
anyway,
you love
have
the
your
way
mission.
he totally
Go on with it. Yeah.
punch that reporter? Wow, that was cool. Because that's what BioWare love to do. But that's what they love to do now. Yeah, I think that. Sorry, I'm still a bit bitter about Rayman Legends. Don't do try to ignore the more jaded of my ramblings.
But about Mass Effect 3.
Don't. Oh, come on.
Dragon Age 2.
Why, Matt?
Yeah, but this is probably chronologically going to be set after the events of the first trilogy, but will feature very different characters and may even be sort of. I don't really want to use the word geographically because this takes place in an entire galaxy, but maybe set in a different area or somewhere that's disconnected from the previous canon by both storyline and physical distance and time.
Well, the great thing about the Mass Effect storyline is it's actually it's cyclical. Like the whole Reaper stuff is completely cyclical. So they could have done a Star Trek and just reduxed everything. It's parallel universe. Oh yeah, just.
Anyways, that'd be great because it would effectively mean that the Mass Effect 3's ending was in fact didn't happen.
Never happened.
Or happened in a failed timeline.
Because we love the Mass Effect universe. The universe is amazing. The creatures they've created, the races they've created. Like, we all know how much you're hungering for the Hanar adventures.
Toads.
Yeah, it'd be good to see. It'd be good to see like the little, perhaps the more sidelined races like the Volus get a little bit more airtime.
Let us play as one even.
Yeah, Volus bombing squad. Yeah, let's have that.
Yeah, let us actually see that this time.
Yes, please.
That'd be super great.
I really want Rogue Squadron First Contact War now, really quite badly.
But Matt, that's a good idea.
Turians, just a space combat sim would be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, get the writers from TIE Fighter in, like, make that happen.
I think you might have got that slightly the wrong way round. Let's get the game designers from TIE Fighter in and the stormfighters from BioWare in. I think rather than doing it the other way round, because we'll end up with like those turret bits from SWTOR and KOTOR 2 as basically being all of the gameplay. Those bits. So you remember those bits in like KOTOR 2, like flying around, those bullshit bits. That'll be it, but with like Grand Admiral Thrawn randomly in there as well for no good reason. I'm blue and evil.
Okay, moving on. Other things that have happened this week. News that there's going to be Julie Ehrman from the Ouya development team coming out and saying there's going to be a new Ouya every year to take advantage of faster, better processors, better tech, all that guff. Now, we've been hilariously critical of Apple doing sort of regular hardware releases. Is this a good thing?
I don't think it's a horrendously bad thing. I mean, the main thing that she said was that, they're going to prioritize on basically just putting more flash memory in there. So you can store more games on it. I think that's fairly reasonable. They're going to be trying to keep the cost low. And the fact is this, the Ouya is predicated on lots and lots of Android games coming out for it.
Yeah.
It will not survive if loads and loads of Android games don't keep coming out for it. Android is constantly being updated. developers will mainly also be developing games to release perhaps simultaneously on tablets hardware, on phone hardware that is, of course, constantly improving, as is PC hardware on sort of Google Play. So yeah, the Ouya does need to progress throughout its lifespan. I don't see there being a huge problem with that, especially since Erman said that they'll be doing their best to make sure that it's fully backwards compatible, both in terms of if you get a new console, your old games will be instantly available to download again through your account and will work properly, and that most games, in fact, will be scalable if you have older hardware.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see as well if the fresh releases include the controller, if the controller gets updated at the same time as the base units, and how the cost comes down if it is just the base unit. Given that the controller makes up a large percentage of the cost, being such a interesting piece of hardware. But yeah, it's a $99 console right now, and considering that, well, Apple update their stuff every 6 months, basically,
which
they cost 8 times more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it's done. But yeah, it's not necessarily the end of the world.
No, and do remember, guys, the Ouya is specifically designed to be hackable and to be easily modded. Like, it's designed basically so you can undo 2 screws, take off the faceplate, and if you want to upgrade it yourself, upgrade it yourself. Like, it's designed so that you can hardware hack it, so that you can get right in there, so that you can like tinker about with it, create new peripherals for it, try and shove loads of other stuff in it, case mod it, do whatever you want. So this isn't a huge deal. I mean, if you want for God knows, we may even see plenty of little third-party companies start springing up and releasing updates for it themselves, which is kind of the point.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is a huge problem, and it's just a shame, though, that they were sort of they're in a bit of a bind with this. It's a bit of a catch-22, because if they'd waited to reveal that they wanted to bring one out each year until they brought the first one out, people would have gone, oh my God, I can't believe I kickstarted this. But bringing it out now before they've released the first one means that a load of people are, lots of backers are getting annoyed about it. So they couldn't really win there. Just hope that the first console they bring out is going to be great.
Yeah.
And we should be getting it, hopefully, next month.
It's going to be very exciting.
Very exciting. Because I won't be playing anything on my Wii U, so I'll have plenty of time to check the Ouya out. Yeah, can't wait. Especially, I'll be able to play Double Fine Adventure on it.
I'm going to piss you off even more now, because I want to move from a welcoming development platform to the closure of a welcoming development platform.
Oh, great.
I think we need to talk a little bit about
XNA, right? Microsoft has basically declared that the XNA toolkit, which is a sort of game development studio and associated tools designed for sort of entry level to intermediate developers to hone their skills and easily create games for PC, Xbox 360 and Windows Phone. And that's being discontinued as of April. There will be no future updates. And this is mainly bad news for Xbox Live indie games, because they are all essentially designed using XNA or variants thereof.
It's not great for Windows Phone either.
No, it's not. And
especially
we've
had
App
Store.
Yeah, you see, we've had a lot of developers really sort of cut their teeth on the platform, really found themselves as developers using XNA, and there's been this huge, incredibly active, incredibly dynamic, and just frankly wonderful community that sprang up around it of developers and of some of the MVPs like George Klingerman, who recently gave us a statement saying that, XNA really changed lives. It really let some developers like James Silver, who developed the dishwasher and graduated to sort of XBLA games using XNA. He even found his wife on it from that community. So, Rocket Riot, they found their feet using XNA, Code Glue. So it's bad news for them, and it's a shame that Microsoft has just sort of pulled the rug out from under them without really giving an indication of what to expect in the future.
Well, I think that's the key. I mean, that's what we were talking about earlier in the week, the fact that they've made this announcement without balancing it out. So they've said, well, okay, yeah, we're getting rid of that. without saying, but we're replacing with this, and they've just like it makes. There must be something. You'd think there must be something coming because
Yeah,
they're trying to unify their OS across multiple platforms and multiple genres of platform, and it doesn't. They've launched a service where that encourages little indie games with the Windows 8 App Store. And yeah, this is you'd think they would have readied a positive announcement to go alongside the negative one because it seems incredibly backwards.
The thing is, I strongly suspect that Microsoft will try and roll out a new toolkit that is like specifically designed for Windows 8 devices.
Yeah.
As you've said, they're trying to unify the Windows 8 brand. You've got phones. You've got the freaking Surface. God knows that needs some games. They've got the Windows 8 App Store, and it's highly likely that the next Xbox will come under the Windows 8 brand as well.
Yeah.
So they'd be mad not to release a toolkit to let indies easily get onto that platform and, release it now so they can get some practice in. Like that would seem to be a very smart move and a fairly simple move as well, and a little bit of a money spinner essentially because they'll have to pay for annual licenses too. So I would suspect that perhaps in the summer we might start hearing news about something like that. But you're right. It's a shame that, Microsoft weren't ready to say, look, guys, don't jump ship to Apple. Don't jump ship to iOS. Don't go over to, PlayStation Mobile just yet. Here's what's coming next. Stay with us. Keep the community together and start developing for our device, our next line, our next range, our next wave of devices.
Yeah, it just seems like they've done it backwards.
It's classic Microsoft. Really. Classic.
But we have planned, or rather, I've planned this podcast to perfection, so we're not going to end on that note. No, Carl, you have 2 slices of exciting awesomeness.
Yes.
I believe. Yes.
Yeah, let's go with them in chronological order.
Let's do it.
First of all, Carbine Studios finally announcing that WildStar is going to launch this year.
This fucking year!
We are going to have sci-fi cowboy-esque MMORPG goodness that looks like it's something from a Disney Pixar film that's going to be in our face, and it's going to be amazing. But on top of that, they've gone into a bit more detail about what we can expect from in-game. They've somewhat mentioned that they can manipulate the game on the fly while it's in action, but they've now told us how they're going to be doing that. And it basically involves them being able to manipulate the terrain at any time. So they can completely change where things are, mix things around, and it means they'll be able to constantly improve quests and daily zones and things like that at any time. But they've also said this will apply to player housing as well, so you can completely customize how your land looks or have a floating guild fortress in the sky. But they've also turned around and said that there will be war plots. War plots being player-made PvP arenas designed so that you could have 2 fortresses at the end, have 2 guilds fighting each other. And you design that. It sounds amazing. It looks amazing. I mean, obviously, they're still dripping out information. We should be getting some more next week with the reveal of the Dominion faction. So a couple of days after this podcast goes out, we'll have more information about that. But they really are focusing on making sure that all styles of play are catered to. So solo players will make sure that they have quests and storylines that change each week. Those of people who like to be social can have epic raids, and they can also have competitions with everyone in the world so that if they do the best on a particular raid, they get recognition across the globe. And they really do seem to be pulling out all the stops. So, yeah, I mean, more information next week, but this is pretty big because we've had we haven't had much in the way of information from WildStar. They've been very good at making sure it stays behind the veil. So this has been very exciting. So, yes, more on that next week, more than likely. But the other bit of news, which happened a couple of hours ago, because we've recorded this on Friday, is that Red Thread Games have announced that, they've officially started their Kickstarter for Dreamfall Chapters. this again is very, very exciting because it's being done by the team that brought not the Secret World. It is the Secret World's head guy, Ragnar Tornquist. But yes, he is the creator of the Longest Journey franchise, and of course it was that and Dreamfall, its sequel. It's looking very, very beautiful. We're getting the heroine from Dreamfall, Zoe's coming back, and it's just looking absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm going to let Matt talk for a minute because I've just spoken continuously without breathing, and I could do with breathing. Matt.
It is incredibly exciting. I mean, The Longest Journey is a franchise that, well, I'm pretty certain we all love.
Yes.
It's one of those adventure titles that's just been never really bettered in a number of ways. It's the fantastical story, the characters, the worlds that they created were absolutely phenomenal, and it's been a long wait. And like Ragnar Tornquist said in the video, he's like, look, we've had people constantly emailing and messaging and tweeting and sending in mail and begging us at conventions to bring it back. And we said, please have faith, and like it will happen one day, and that day is coming.
Yeah.
It's not going to be this year. It's going to be next year. That's all right.
That's absolutely fine. I mean, the Kickstarter as it is, I mean, it's been up a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And it's already at $60,000 already. So it's doing quite well.
They're looking for a lot of money though.
Yeah, they are looking for £850,000. But I mean, if it's currently at something like 7%, if it keeps at that sort of steady climb, then they'll be fine.
Yeah,
also the
game itself, stretch goals.
Game itself is looking at $25.
Exactly, that's all they're asking for just for the minimum amount to get in, and it's pretty affordable, really. I mean, that's as you were saying, Matt. The thing with the Longest Journey is that it kind of blends that cyberpunk feel and the fantasy realms together and it's just a fantastic blend. And I actually cannot wait to get back in there because, like you say, fantastic characters in both of those games. To be fair.
It's the Longest Journey. It's Dreamfall. It's gonna be It's gonna be brilliant. Like we've waited a long time for this.
You'll probably
gonna have to wait a little bit more.
You'll probably get cancelled.
No, you're not winning this moment. We're gonna finish on a high note. It's gonna be Dreamfall Chapters.
Okay, let's take it back a bit. John.
Yeah.
John.
Yes.
War plots. We're gonna be able to design stuff in WildStar. Let's end it with that. It's just gonna be just great. It's just gonna be so good. Space cowboys.
Actually,
Space cowboys with bunny women.
So I got to get a move on.
I know what'll work here.
Bunny people, John. The bunny people.
Also, in just under 2 weeks, Revengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me happy.
But it's parrying action, where if you parry with the parry, you can do the parry to parry the parry that's parrying.
Oh yeah, well you can counter the parry counter of his parry counter of your parry counter. Platinum Games actually put up a very helpful little commentary about this that is by far the most confusing thing I've ever read.
It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, I think on that note we shall end. Guys, we'll catch you tomorrow for a little bit of a podcast discussing Sony's upcoming very vague, mysterious presentation. And we'll catch you next week for another slice of Game Buzz. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.